One can stand today on the bed of what was once a mighty river, a place that for generations was the lifeblood of the land. The earth underfoot is no longer soft mud, but a mosaic of pale, cracked clay, polygons of thirst stretching as far as the eye can see. This is not a scene from a distant, desolate planet. It is a portrait of our own world. We see reservoirs, vast, man-made lakes built to hold back floods and quench millions, now reduced to mere puddles, with pale rings marking past water lines. Along dusty roads, lines of people wait, containers in hand, for a water truck that brings their ration for the day. This is the stark, visual language of water scarcity. The story of water is becoming a story of movement. When the well that has sustained a village for 100 years finally runs dry, to comprehend why our world is growing thirstier, we must first look to the sky and to the immense, intricate system that moves water around our planet. The water cycle, a process we all learn about as children, is a delicate dance of evaporation, condensation, precipitation. Water rises from oceans and lakes as vapor, forms clouds, and falls back to earth as rain, snow replenishing rivers, lakes underground aquifers. For millennia, this cycle has been relatively stable, its rhythms predictable enough to build civilizations upon. But now, that rhythm is changing, becoming erratic and unfamiliar, and the consequences are being felt on the ground. The primary driver of this change is a warming atmosphere. As our planet's average temperature rises, the air has a greater capacity to hold moisture. This simple fact of physics has profound implications. It means that in some regions, the air acts like a sponge, drawing more and more water from the soil, from plants, from rivers, leading to longer and more intense periods of drought. If we were to trace where every drop of fresh water we pull from nature goes, the vast majority would lead us not to a tap in a home, but to a field of crops. Globally, agriculture is the single largest consumer of fresh water, accounting for roughly 70% of all withdrawals. Plants need water to grow, and feeding 8 billion people requires an almost unimaginable volume of it. Our farming methods, built in a time of perceived abundance, are often profoundly inefficient, causing over-extraction that drains rivers and ancient aquifers. The sheer quantity of water required to produce our food is staggering. A single kilogram of rice can require thousands of liters of water to grow. Producing a kilogram of beef is even more water-intensive. Our dietary choices across billions create a colossal water footprint. In arid regions, farmers grow thirsty crops like cotton and almonds, fed by massive irrigation that diverts rivers or pumps that draw from ancient aquifers. Traditional irrigation is wasteful. Flood irrigation simply inundates fields, losing water to evaporation and seepage before it reaches roots. Large-scale sprinklers spray water high into the air and lose much to wind and heat, especially in the middle of the day. These methods came from thinking water was infinite, a mindset we can't afford. The result is landscapes in decline. The Colorado River runs low and sometimes dry before the sea. The Indus faces similar strain and low flows. From Punjab to California's Central Valley, groundwater is falling as wells go deeper. This is water deficit spending, borrowing from the future to feed the present. We need not demonize farmers, but transform agriculture to grow more food with far less water. For the first time in human history, more than half of the world's population lives in cities. This unprecedented wave of urbanization represents a monumental shift in how we live. But it also places an extraordinary strain on our planet's water resources. Cities are incredibly thirsty entities. They are dense concentrations of people, businesses, industries. All of these require a constant and reliable supply of clean water to function. Water is needed for drinking and sanitation in homes, for cooling power plants, for manufacturing processes, for cleaning streets, for maintaining green spaces that make urban life more bearable. As cities expand, their demand for water grows relentlessly. To quench this thirst, urban centers must reach further into the surrounding landscape. They build vast networks of pipelines, aqueducts, canals. They import water from distant rivers, lakes, often diverting supplies that once supported rural communities and ecosystems. The story of many modern cities is one of hydrological engineering on a grand scale, a constant effort to secure water sources to fuel growth. This creates direct competition for water between the urban maw and agricultural lands, setting up a fundamental conflict over a finite resource. The city's physical footprint also alters the local water cycle. Where there were once forests, fields that absorbed rainfall and recharged aquifers, there is now concrete asphalt rooftops. Rain on a city cannot soak into the earth. Instead, it rushes across hard surfaces, picking up pollutants, and is channeled into storm drains that often dump into rivers or the sea. Cities not only consume vast amounts of water, they also prevent natural replenishment, worsening supply problems. This concentration of demand makes cities uniquely vulnerable to shortages. When prolonged drought hits, as in Cape Town, São Paulo, Chennai, the intricate systems designed to deliver water can be pushed to the breaking point. Reservoirs dry up, and authorities impose drastic restrictions, leading to day-zero scenarios where taps could run dry for millions. As urban populations swell, especially in water-stressed developing regions, securing sustainable water supplies will become a top urban planning challenge. While the changing climate and growing populations are powerful drivers of water scarcity, they are not the sole culprits. In many places, the crisis has been worsened by a legacy of flawed policies and poor management. Our rules and laws governing water are relics of a bygone era, drafted when the resource seemed limitless and before modern hydrology and climate science. These outdated regulations created systems that encourage waste, enable over-extraction, and fail to distribute water equitably, leaving the most vulnerable with the least. One common policy failure treats water as a private right rather than a shared public good. Water rights are often granted to those who first laid claim to a source or to landowners, letting them extract set amounts in perpetuity, regardless of availability. That can let a few large agricultural conglomerates or industrial users hold most of a river's flow during droughts, while downstream communities and ecosystems suffer. Rigid rules lack the flexibility to adapt to fluctuating water supplies. Furthermore, governments have often worsened the problem by heavily subsidizing water. Supplying water to agricultural sectors at prices far below true cost, or to industrial sectors at low prices, removes incentives to use it efficiently. When water is artificially cheap, farms skip water-saving drip irrigation and factories skip recycling systems. These subsidies, even well-intentioned, promote waste. They signal that this precious resource is of little value. Lack of groundwater regulation is another catastrophic failure. In many regions, there are no limits on who can drill a well or how much they can pump from aquifers. That sparks a race to the bottom. Deeper wells siphon more water, leaving neighbors' shallow wells dry. Unregulated pumping drives rapid aquifer depletion worldwide, and aquifers are our planet's savings account for water. Bad rules, and sometimes no rules at all, have turned a manageable challenge into a crisis, proving governance matters as much as supply. The patterns of human settlement have always been drawn by water. We built our villages, towns, great cities along the banks of rivers, on the shores of lakes, over abundant aquifers. Water was the anchor. But as that anchor is being lifted by scarcity, the map of where people can live and thrive is beginning to change. Rain patterns, snow patterns are no longer conforming to the historical averages our maps were based on. Regions that once enjoyed predictable, life-sustaining precipitation are now facing longer, more frequent droughts. This is redrawing the atlas of habitable land, and people are beginning to move in response. In the face of such a daunting global challenge, it is easy to feel a sense of despair. The scale of the problem can seem overwhelming. And yet, human ingenuity has a long history of rising to meet great challenges. The crisis of water scarcity is no exception. Across the world, in laboratories, on farms, in coastal communities, scientists and engineers are developing remarkable new technologies to help us manage water more wisely. While technology alone is not a silver bullet, it is a crucial part of the solution, offering glimmers of hope for a more water-secure future. One prominent technology is desalination. Removing salt from seawater used to be prohibitively expensive and energy-intensive. But decades of innovation have improved things. Modern plants using reverse osmosis are far more efficient. It still uses a lot of energy and creates salty brine, but desalination is no longer a futuristic fantasy. For coastal cities in arid regions, Persian Gulf, California, Australia, desalination is becoming an essential lifeline, supplementing dwindling supplies during droughts. At the other end is precision agriculture and smart irrigation. New tech lets farmers apply water with surgical accuracy. Drip irrigation systems, for example, deliver water directly to plant roots, drop by drop, cutting evaporation and runoff from traditional sprinklers. Combined with soil moisture sensors, weather forecasting data, drone imagery, farmers can give each plant precisely the water it needs. This can slash agricultural water use by half or more without sacrificing yields. Digital tech also empowers individuals and utilities. Smart water meters in homes and businesses provide real-time usage data. That data can be relayed to a smartphone app, letting people see exactly how much water they're using and where, identifying leaks and encouraging conservation. For utilities, the same data helps manage distribution networks better, pinpointing leaks in aging pipes that lose large shares of treated water. These innovations, from the massive scale of desalination to the personal scale of a smart meter, show we are not powerless. We have the tools to change our relationship with water. Perhaps the most abundant and underutilized source of water in many parts of the world is the water we use once and then discard. Every day, our cities produce enormous volumes of wastewater, from homes, offices, industries. For most of history, our primary goal has been to get this wastewater away from us as quickly as possible. But a paradigm shift is underway, one that reframes this used water not as waste, but as a valuable resource. With modern treatment technologies, we can clean and purify wastewater to a remarkable degree, creating a new, reliable, and local source of water for a variety of needs. This process of water recycling, or water reclamation, can operate at multiple levels. On a basic level, treated wastewater, often called purple pipe water, can be used for non-potable purposes like irrigating golf courses, public parks, agricultural fields, or for industrial processes like cooling. This frees up precious, high-quality drinking water for what it is most needed for: human consumption. Cities like Irvine, California, have built extensive recycled water systems that meet a significant portion of their non-potable water demand, demonstrating viability at large scale. More advanced treatment processes can take recycling a step further, purifying wastewater to a standard that is safe and, in many cases, cleaner than the original source. This process often involves microfiltration, reverse osmosis, advanced oxidation, and can produce water that is pure enough to drink. This purified water can be used to recharge depleted groundwater aquifers, a process known as indirect potable reuse, or in some cases, even be put directly back into the drinking water supply. While the psychological barrier to drinking former sewage can be high, public education and the sheer quality of the purified water are helping communities Singapore, Orange County, California embrace this ultimate form of recycling. Beyond recycling, a profound commitment to efficiency in our cities can unlock vast hidden supplies of water. In many older cities, aging and leaky pipe infrastructure can result in the loss of 20 to 30%, or even more, of all treated water before it ever reaches a customer. Investing in leak detection and pipe replacement programs is one of the most cost-effective ways to increase a city's water supply. In our homes and buildings, the widespread adoption of simple water-saving devices like low-flow toilets, shower heads, faucets can dramatically reduce a household's daily consumption without any change in lifestyle. By plugging the leaks and ending the era of waste, we can make our existing water supplies go much, much further. While innovative technologies provide us with powerful new tools, they cannot solve the water crisis on their own. The most advanced drip irrigation system is of little use if outdated laws encourage farmers to flood their fields. A state-of-the-art recycling plant will have limited impact if there are no regulations to encourage its use. Ultimately, sustainable water management hinges on good governance. We must fundamentally rethink and reform the policies, laws, and economic structures that govern how we use, share, and value water, crafting a new set of rules fit for the realities of the 21st century. A cornerstone of effective water policy is the principle of adaptive management. Our old systems of fixed water rights are too rigid for a world of increasing hydrological volatility. New policies must build in flexibility, allowing for water allocations to be adjusted based on real-time conditions. This might mean establishing a clear hierarchy of use during droughts, prioritizing water for human health and critical ecosystems first. It could involve creating water markets where users can buy and sell water allocations, creating a financial incentive for conservation. The goal is to move from a static, bureaucratic system to a dynamic one that can respond intelligently to floods and droughts. Good policy must also ensure equity. The burden of water scarcity often falls disproportionately on the poorest and most marginalized communities, who lack the economic and political power to secure their access to water. Fair water policies protect the basic human right to water, ensuring a baseline supply for all, regardless of their ability to pay. This might involve lifeline tariffs, where a certain amount of water for basic needs is provided at a very low cost, with prices increasing for higher levels of consumption. It also means protecting the water rights of indigenous communities and small-scale farmers against the encroachment of large industrial or agricultural users, ensuring that the benefits of a river or aquifer are shared by all who depend on it. Finally, policy can be a powerful tool to protect our water sources for the long term. This includes robust regulations to prevent the pollution of rivers and groundwater from industrial runoff and agricultural runoff. It means implementing and enforcing strict limits on groundwater pumping to allow depleted aquifers time to recover. It also involves policies that encourage nature-based solutions, such as protecting and restoring forests, wetlands, and floodplains. These natural ecosystems act as sponges, absorbing heavy rains, filtering pollutants, and slowly releasing water during dry periods, providing invaluable water management services for free. By aligning our laws and economic incentives with the goal of sustainability, we can create a framework where both people and nature can thrive. The story of water is the story of us. It is etched into our landscapes, our cities, our very biology. The sight of a dry riverbed is a profound warning about the security of our future. This is not a story that has to end in thirst and displacement. We stand at a critical juncture with more knowledge and powerful tools than ever. The path from scarcity to security is clear, but requires action at every level, from our own homes to the highest halls of government. For individuals, the journey begins with awareness. It starts with understanding where our water comes from and the complex journey it takes to reach our tap. Simple actions, multiplied by millions, can change the outcome. Fix the small leaks in our homes. Choose water-saving appliances. Landscape with native, drought-tolerant plants instead of thirsty lawns. Be mindful of consumption and support businesses committed to water efficiency.